Hey, welcome back to the channel. Everybody like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. Let me know where y'all from. Let me know if you're rocking with Migos. So look, man, Offset is pretty much mad at this whole situation because he never got to come back and make things right with the Migos. Because if you look at it, he left the Migos and stuff because he already had problems. But most of the people, they thinking the problems could have been between Offset and Quavo, because I couldn't see a reason for Takeoff to be mad like that, or Takeoff and Offset to have disagreement. Because if everybody knows, when Quavo and Offset started arguing over the girl, that's when the Migos was starting to break up. And Takeoff tried to tell both of them, leave that girl alone. It's not worth it. There's so much money on the table that you guys are screwing over. And really, they kind of actually ripped Takeoff off, because of the fact that if the group would have stayed together, they would have all made more money. But they instead, Quavo and Takeoff, Quavo and Offset, just got too selfish and was all in their emotions about them like seeing the same girl or whatever like that. And so that really caused Takeoff to lose, a little chunk of money by not having full Migos in appearance. And maybe by, the popularity from Offset's fans watching the same, listening to the same music, like they could have all got paid for like ever. But at the end of the day, now that they come back to the situation, and Offset was doing the whole speech and Drake was on stage and everybody, like, Offset's like, dang man, I wish they wouldn't have had that argument to break up, because they know that now it ain't worth it, and that now Takeoff is never gonna be the Migos again. So they're never now, Quavo and Offset, they probably always gonna have that awkwardness, and just knowing in the back of their head that if they wouldn't have argued about Sweetie, that the Migos could have been together, and maybe they wouldn't have been in Houston that night. Maybe they would have been in the studio, finishing the stuff, maybe on a different promo somewhere else, on a red carpet where, the red carpet, with the way the security works, they wouldn't have been able to have a dice game on the red carpet. They wouldn't be able to have all these people hanging around, lingering at the red carpet, because the red carpet security is going to take it way more serious and tell them to disperse the crowd. This is only for celebrities. If you just a random dude off the streets who's just coming for a dice game, well, you got to leave, right? And so that's the difference between, like, they went out for the hoorah, they went out to party, they went out to do all this stuff, when really they should have either been working in the studio or up in their mansion or something like that. And so, like, that way, if they do need to go somewhere, like, they could always have it brought to the place. Unless they, had more of a, like, you can't go to somebody else's private party. You got to basically have your own private party amongst your close group, like, and don't invite nobody, like, you know what I mean? So the fact that it's a private party, yeah, but they don't know all the people from MobTies side. And that's another thing too, is like the fact that now you got MobTies artists and stuff, like they got to tuck their chains when they come outside, because if they keep their chains out, somebody's gonna be like, oh, like da da da, snatch it, just like how Lil Cam tried to snatch Takeoff's chain. And so, that's why the MobTies artists, they had to tuck their chain. They're like making sure to be cautious, because everybody knows now that, this whole thing is a funny situation. It looks weird, it looks funny, and just the whole everything put together is not adding up right. And, everybody knows the fact that, just from them coming down there and, being in Houston and checking in and stuff like that, like, they really could have did a different thing and went to the studio instead of having the dice. But, to each his own. Everybody, wants to have fun, and they want to go out, they want to be able to go and hang with the crowd, and they want to do all that. But really, it's like, at the end of the day, what are you doing? Are you a millionaire? You out there? You shouldn't even be playing in a dice game, because that's just a couple thousand. You could have been working in the studio to make something that could have made more mills. And so at the end of the day, it's like, why even go to these parties, and why even go to that if it's just a bunch of people who is going to act like that at the end of the day, right? And so unless they went somewhere where it's more controlled, like the security is way more stepped up, because there's nothing wrong with going outside. It's just the fact that you got to know how to move, and you got to know, what's a good idea. You just basically got to use your common sense to know that if you go into like a private party with mob ties and stuff, and they're really tied into the streets, all the people that they're gonna invite are gonna be pretty much the type of crowd where you got to be careful with everything. You got to look over your shoulder and make sure nobody's trying to finesse, no one's trying to pinch a bag or anything like that. And so what y'all got to understand is that these celebrities and stuff, you know, they just want to be able to come out into and be like, no, I could party like a regular person. I could go and do this, do that like a regular person. Well, here's the thing though. A lot of people going to be jealous. A lot of people going to be envious and greed. And, you know, they want what you got. They want to take your spot. When you're at the top, they want to swap places, and they want to be able to, you know, see if they can get a little percentage of what you got. So if it means coming up to you, testing you, trying you, checking you, you know, that's what was going on with Quavo. They already knew that if they were to come to this party, the way the dice game works out is that the person who's up on money never gets to actually leave with the money they get. They win. Always the other person's always like, no, you can't quit until I try to win my money back. And so they try to like hold you like hostage and like kind of like block you in on this dice game to make it to where you give them so many chances to win their money back that either y'all both lose or you like not even breaking even. At the end of the day, it's a break even. Like you not if you were to do this over and over and over again, it's not like you're going to be up and up and up. When you do it over and over again, you're going to basically be at like 80%, you know, of what you what you put in. So it's like you win some, you lose some, but at the end of the day, you're always going to lose more. So it really don't make sense for Quavo to think that he could go and pop up in the dice game and try to leave out early, because everybody knows that's just going to start an argument. Like, you should have known this. All the years experience in the streets, all of that should have led up to him knowing that, hey, you know what? It's a wiser move to not get into the dice game, and for him and Takeoff to leave early. When Jazz left, when the birthday guy left, that's when they should have left. They should have left when he left, and they should have went either to a private, undisclosed residence or something like that where nobody knew that they were going there, like not even the MobTies guys. Or they should have went to pretty much the first flight out back to Atlanta, back to the studio, because it really don't make no sense for them to kind of just stay there, stay the night and this and that, when, you know, they got enough money, they could get up out and go ASAP. Like they could just leave. They could have went and just pretty much went back to ATL and got back to doing their tracks and got back to like to the mansion and stuff. But you got to understand that, you know, they were friends with MobTies. So, you know, Quavo was seen, he's friends with Jazz Prince, he's friends with J Prince Jr. and all that. So, like, you know, they were really trying to please their friends. And it just so happened that MobTies has a lot of pull. So it's like, hey, you can't disrespect them and try to dip out on them on the dice game. I guess that's what was wrong, is that, you know, once Quavo was like, okay, enough's enough, and that he was ready to go, now it became a problem, because they're like, well, we're not ready and we're the ones who's protecting you. And so that's the reason why you can't just be trusting everybody these days. You got to be very cautious and knowing who to stay around, who to basically trust, because how are you going to get in an argument? The people that's supposed to be protecting you end up fighting you, and that's the worst part, because now you done gave yourself up to them and they done flipped the script on you. So make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below. I'm going to catch you on the next one.